You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. You started what you're doing, Jane, the day after Dr. King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. That's what you told me in the previous interview. We talked about voting, things along those lines. Jane, I've got to get your thoughts on the junior senator from Alabama when he was asked, when he was running against Senator Doug Jones, about the Voting Rights Act. Go to my computer, please.
The thing about the Voting Rights Act is, it's, there's a lot of different things you can look at it as. Who's it going to help? What direction do we need to go with it? I think it's important that with everything we do, we keep secure. We keep an eye on it. It's run by our government, and it's run to the point that it's got structure to it. It's like education. It's got to have structure. Now, for some reason, we look at things to change, to think we're going to make it better, but we better do a lot of work on it before we make that change.
Jane, that is the former Auburn football coach who is now the junior United States Senator from the state of Alabama, Tommy Tuberville.
He is not very different from most of the people who are supporting Mr. Trump and his policies. 40% of the people in the electorate in this country would support a man who would say it's all right to deny people the vote based on the color of their skin.
So, Jane, where do we go? Where do we go? So, if we are to,
we have to educate these young people. This young man is an example of what we haven't done with education. He needs to be taught the truth. We haven't been teaching the truth in the schools in this country for the last 300 years. This is a problem of education. Educators are supposed to lead people out of ignorance. You can see that this young man should be listening to you, 3 adults who know what you're talking about. He is trying to teach you. You have forgotten more since breakfast than he will ever know. You have experienced things that he will never experience. But he will experience them if he doesn't get his head on straight and start reading the history as it really happened instead of reading it as he was told in the schools in the United States of America. He firmly believes that a person who can make the amount of money that our former president did by grifting others is more admirable than you 3 people who know what you're talking about. You've been where he's going. What you're trying to do is set it up so he doesn't have to go through what you have gone through. That doesn't have to happen again. We could put a stop to this if we chose to, but instead we are perpetuating this myth as long as we keep people like this young man in the dark. If we can keep him believing the lie, that's how long we can perpetuate racism in this country. We think, but it isn't going to work. Melanated people are going to be grossly outnumbered, and it's coming faster than we expected it. We've got to change our behaviors. We've got to change our attitude. We've got to change our beliefs. We've got to change our myths, and we've got to stop telling myths as though they are fact. We've got to start dealing with the truth in this country.
Final comment. I'm going to go now to Reese.
My final comment is, I don't believe for 1 second that CJ doesn't know better. Bless you. I'm not trying to lecture you or anything like that. I think you're doing what you set out to do, which is you have a brand, you have an agenda, you're young, you have a bright future ahead of you in the conservative world if you continue to regurgitate your talking points and stick to that script. But I just say again, I hope you don't get that N-word wake-up call that we all get one day, one way or another.
CJ.
Well, Roland, I want to thank you for having me. I actually really did have a good time today, so thank you so much for extending the invitation. But really beyond all that, I will say, I'm not a victim. I've never been. I don't live in a constant state of oppression. I believe that we create the opportunities that we want to have in this country. I'm proud to have supported President Trump. We'll be proud to support him again in the event that he does run. But really, what this is all about for me, this is bigger than race. I think the way that we actually bridge the racial divide, the way that we actually ensure that Black and brown people are uplifted in this nation, is by encouraging, actual policies that are going to uplift our people. Right? Policies that are going to ensure that we are able to create small businesses. Policies that are going to ensure that we're not wedded to the federal government for entitlement spending like food stamps, welfare, whatever. We need to create victors, not victims. That's what I'm all about. That's my idea. That's my platform. That's my agenda. It's not about pushing Donald Trump's plan or pushing white people or whatever. It's about pushing the idea that Black people control their own destiny in this country because we are no longer slaves. We are people that control who we wish to be, who we are, and that's what I believe. Period.
Greg Carr.
Yeah, no, this has been very useful, I think, in some ways. In other ways, not so much. But Reese cut through all of it when it comes to this specific conversation. You did your job well, young brother. You stayed on brand. As a Gen Zer, you know the importance of sticking to a message when folks aren't going to dig much deeper. And just know that there have always been individuals who, oppressors of all type, have picked out of the groups that are oppressed in order to do two things: give them a bit of a safety valve and a bit of a fig leaf, as you heard Professor Elliott say. And also, those people are well rewarded. That's the second thing. And you're right about Colin Powell. Colin Powell back in January said, I no longer am affiliated with the Republican Party, but that isn't because he didn't want to be a fiscal conservative. That isn't because he's not a warmonger, because he absolutely is. And another reason not to look at Lynn Cheney as a hero. Her father is the reason there are a number of women and men who are dead right now for the misadventure overseas 20 years that's been going on. But ultimately, it pays well. And as Reese said, I hope you don't get that wake-up call. But as Professor Elliott has said, we're trying to help you understand that no matter how well you do as an individual, in the words of Frantz Fanon, you are overdetermined from without, because race is not something people who enslaved your ancestors brought. It is something that was created to keep your ancestors in place. And once we fought our way out of that, to keep them on the bottom of this very deeply capitalist structure. And so as you are there in Alabama, and if you can name all 50 states, you can say at least one word in a half a dozen, a half dozen, at least a couple of dozen Native American languages, meaning the first crime of this country was settler colonialism. Never forget that no matter how you think about yourself as an individual, I hope, because, I've spent many dark nights in Alabama, let us all pray that whatever you're saying and doing won't turn into a situation when you confront the fact that no matter how you feel about yourself, it is how this country feels about you that determines a lot of your life chances and a lot of the life chances of the people who will remain oppressed, in part because you will be used as a pawn by those who will keep us oppressed by saying, but look, there's CJ. So just be careful, brother. And our doors are always open. I hope you come back for more of this conversation.
Jane, close us out, Jane.
Yes.
Well, you've all said it all. I don't need to say any more. I'm just shocked that this young man, with all his education, doesn't know what's going on in this country. I don't understand how he cannot see what's going on around him. Yes, I do too. He's young and he will grow up. If he is allowed to grow up in this country, I will be extremely pleased.
I'll close it out this way. My position is very simple, and I leave it on the file shot. I love the people who run their mouths on Twitter like this. I don't know who this ignorant woman is. Robin Barnes out of Michigan. She's the CEO and principal broker of Latitude Luxury Real Estate in Michigan. First of all, she said, why are you picking on this kid? Now, CJ will tell you, a whole bunch of CJ supporters was saying the same thing before CJ turned 18. I said, see.
I'm glad to be here.
No. I'm just telling you. I'm just what she said. And CJ confirmed it. I said it. I'm going to wait till he turned 18 when he grown before I invite him on the show so y'all can stop whining and saying, why you picking on a kid? I said, we'll wait. When he turned 18, I said, now you can come on the show. The other thing is this here. All the folks talking about, oh, let somebody finish. This is real simple for me, CJ. And if anybody, I've had black conservatives on my show before. I've had different people. When somebody says something that's not true, I'ma jack them. I don't care whether you conservative, liberal, when you use stuff that's factually incorrect, I'ma stop you because I can't let the audience, I ain't Tucker, I'm not Sean, I'm not that fool Grant, Sean Spicer, Laura Ingraham. I don't let non-factual stuff slide on the show. Last one. If I answer this, all my advice, my only advice for you, CJ, when somebody asks you a question, don't obfuscate, don't deflect, just answer the question. Because here's the deal. When you don't answer the question, it sounds like you don't want to answer the question. And so I'm a press folk. So, and I get, hey, everybody, I know how to stay on point. I know how not to get trapped. But the point I'm saying is, you gonna come on, hey, answer it. Say it. Nope, I didn't call Donald Trump out when it came to the deficit, but I still supported him. That's the only deal there. But this is all I ask. This is all I ask you, CJ. And I've said this to Eugene. I've said it to Chris. I've said it to Paris. Said it to Shermichael. I can name every black Republican I've had. Don't be afraid to check your party. Don't be afraid to check your party on race. Don't be afraid to say to your party when they screw up, hey, y'all ain't doing what's right. Do not defend their bullshit. Because what they want are black people to give them cover. And all I'm saying, as a brother who's 52, who knows Michael Williams, when a Republican would not condemn black church burnings, his wife Donna said they were going to have a fundraiser in her house, at their house. Donna said, ain't no man welcome in my house who will not condemn the burning of black churches. Michael worked for Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, and he worked for Governor George W. Bush, said, no, will we not be a fundraiser in our house? And so what I ask of black Republicans, be like Bob Brown, be like Alphonso Jackson, be like black Republicans who are willing to challenge their party, be like Michael Steele to call them out when they're wrong. And let me be real clear, you saw a whole bunch of Democrats know how I jammed them up. And Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office been avoiding me for 10 months. And I'm calling her out constantly. And I'm letting them know. And trust me, I ain't on no Obama mailing list because I also was willing to critique him when need be. I ain't a Democrat. I ain't a Republican. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. Because of Jane, I'm a melanated man. For my mom and daddy, I'm a black man, Reese. I'm going to go with you on that one. And we going to call it like it is. All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have, you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.